All right. What's up, y'all?
Okay, I'll set this on. Okay, so, This Is Us is going to be, I have a feeling it's going to be a great show. It's going to get a really good reception from the public. What type of people do you feel are going to love this show?
Everybody. No, it's like every person in the world. No, I don't know. What do you think, Sterling?
Well, I mean, the thing that I love about the show is that it has a warmth to it. And I think in this particular day and age of sort of this renaissance of television, a lot of stuff tends to skew towards the darker side. You know, you got Breaking Bad, which I love, and House of Cards, which I love, but this show dares to be something special for network television and has this wonderful sense of hope at the end of the day. So I think for people who like a little bit of hope, you'll be moved, you'll laugh, but it's got this just feeling of goodness about it. So anybody who wants to feel good will like the show.
And it's nice to add that to sort of the diaspora of what's going on. You know what I mean? You want choice, you want variety, you want to know that, I can watch, a Game of Thrones, or I can watch, like you said, absolutely,
yeah, sure.
Or I can watch shows that are like Breaking Bad, but I can watch this as well, and it adds to the conversation, and it's something that right now is not, I don't think it's the popular thing. So
Right.
I think that also gives it a leg up, is that it's something that people aren't necessarily seeing at the moment, and that and the idea of connecting with characters on a very personal level about simple life things or complicated life things, but just life, and being able to see all these characters and find somebody in there to connect with, or hopefully more than one.
Sure.
I think is a really exciting and hopeful thing for people.
For shizzle.
Sterling,
Yeah.
your character is adopted, as we know, and is looking for his father, wants to meet his biological father.
Yes.
He seems to have a happy life and has referred to having a good childhood. So what do you think his motivation is to find his dad?
Yeah, it's interesting. So I'm trying to figure out how to phrase it without going beyond the pilot. I can speak from my own personal experience in that I was 10 years old when I lost my biological dad. So it's not an exact analogous situation, but right now is a really good time for me in my life. I've got 2 beautiful children, a lovely wife, and career's going well. And I often ask myself, wouldn't it be cool if my dad was here? Like, wouldn't it be really cool if he could be with his grandchildren right now, meet this woman that I chose to share my life with? Like, how awesome would that be? And so I think Randall is sort of going through a similar thing, where he does have everything. Beautiful wife, 2 beautiful girls, great job, but man, wouldn't it be awesome if my dad was here? And it seems almost like a no-brainer in that if he can do it not just for himself, but for his children while they're still young and open to meeting new people and making connections, then that's something that he almost has to do. Not in his better judgment, like it's almost like he's compelled to do it, even though he doesn't want to, So yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You girl.
And the 2 of you seemed to already have such great on-camera chemistry. So going back to like the pilot, what did you as actors sort of do to make that real?
What we do?
I had to go into a zone to get ready for you, Sterling. I had
Do
to
you?
go all the way
What
here
kind of zone?
and
Talk
be
to
like,
me.
Help me, Jesus. No, what did we do?
We knew
We know each other.
We went
So
to
that
grad
was-
school
Yeah,
together.
and so we already had like a familiarity with each other,
Yeah.
and I was already a fan of Sterling's work, and I was, that. Come on now. And so when we actually did the test together,
Yeah,
that was so much fun.
it was fun.
Yeah, and I just felt like, man, there was nobody. We had the same vocabulary. We were both theater folks. We were both trained in the same way.
Yeah.
And so there was something about like jumping in the room together and just playing. Like I knew he had
Play.
me. It's one of those trust exercises where it's like you've played this game with this person because you know how they play it, And so I just kind of went like this, and he went like that, and then he caught me, and then I did the same thing for him, and then I feel like that's what it's been like,
I
right?
agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, the shorthand, we both went to the Masters of Fine Arts and Acting program at NYU, had the same teachers and everything. So there's a, would you raise your hand? You did? Okay. I was about to say. So there's a shorthand and there's a vocabulary that's very similar and whatnot. And so that's it. Like, and I think it's just, if it was good in the pilot, thank you. But I think it just continues to get better the more we get a chance to just like get into the groove of it. It's nice. It's nice.
And there was that moment there was a scene in the pilot when, you know, your character brings home his father.
Yes.
And you're like, ooh.
Right.
Where did you find that? You know, what did go through her mind? Because it's kind of unsteady and
Yeah.
you know, what's going on in her mind?
It's interesting because you feel like, all right, life is set up and things are flowing. You know, you ever
Right.
get in that groove where life is like, all right, we found the groove and
Yeah.
everything's going well. And then the unexpected walks through the door.
Don't disturb this groove.
Right.
Yes.
And like you did.
I did. I
So,
totally disturbed
yes.
the groove.
And so she has to then sort of put the pieces together on the spot and then discover like, okay, how are we going to now deal with this? Because one thing that I love about Beth is that she's very supportive. She's ride or die. You know what I mean? She's that Bonnie and Clyde, Jay-Z, Beyonce. Remember that video?
I do.
It's that, you know? And I feel like, you know, so she has his back, but she's also very honest and very like truthful, and she covers his blind spots. So if he's not seeing something, she's always on the lookout for what he's
Yeah.
not seeing. You know what I mean? Because he wants to have a sort of more, the way she sees it is he wants to have a really kind of perfect perspective on his life. In some ways, he wants to try to put it together in the right way.
Yeah.
And she just kind of goes, look, this is where it is. This is where we're at. Let's just see where we're at. You
Yeah.
know. And so that's the moment that I think happens, and it's so surprising for me because I didn't expect him to come through the door
Right.
and come home
Yeah.
and stay.
No.
Yeah.
Because you asked me at the soccer game, you gonna do it? I'm like, nah.
Yeah, he's like, I may not. So
We're
I'm like,
good.
why did you do it? And then he's like, I don't know. I just feel like I had to do it. And then the next thing, the guy's in the house at the door. So I say it's the moment where sort of like the rock comes through the window, or you know what I mean? And you're like,
Right.
wait, what just, you know? And now things are different. And so that I guess that's the exciting part, right? Because now things definitely are different.
Yeah.
And in the next few episodes, it's very different.
I think for a family that's used to like having that groove and structure and everything in place, they've now introduced something into their lives that they don't necessarily have control over. And so it's going to be a very interesting journey to see how they each react to the newness of it all.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Okay, quick question. Outside of your own individual performances, from what you've seen on set, who do you think is going to blow everyone away when the show comes out?
Chrissy.
Outside of our own individual
Yeah,
performances?
Chrissy.
I think so. I think
Chrissy's
she's gonna.
fantastic.
Yeah, I think that the bravery and I think the courageousness of her performance in ways
Yeah.
that not typical, you know, what you just think, oh, because of her storyline.
Right.
But I think that there's like a bravery there and a stepping out and sharing and a vulnerability, I guess.
Yeah.
That's really
Because it's not
undeniable with her
Chrissy's
character.
Chrissy's plus size, like we see that, but it's not just Chrissy can act.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and she shares herself so beautifully. And I know, coming from a big family with big people in that big family, people have been starving to see someone who looks a little bit like them. Because everybody has this, for women especially, it's so hard. Like, this city is so hard. Like, there's this enormous pressure to come out here and make yourself into one of the Shetland people and just be like teeny tiny, you know what I'm saying? But it's nice to see real life represented on screen where you can point and say like, okay, that's somebody I know. And she's fantastic. She's funny.
And she's not just funny.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
There's a tendency to put, you know, if somebody is overweight, then it has to be, or,
Right.
you know, said to be overweight, whichever way it goes.
Right.
Then they have to sort of be put in a certain category so people can digest it
Sure.
differently or make light of it. But just to see a person being and going through their life and trying to figure things
Yeah.
out, and they happen to be dealing with this thing that they're really trying to deal with and grapple with, I think it's going to be really interesting.
Let me say, everybody kills it. Everybody kills it, and everybody's great. But I think people are familiar with other people's work more. And Chrissy's a new face. Like, Chrissy, she gonna be all right. Yeah.
Just one more question, and they have to
Mhm.
go.
Okay.
So from your characters, is there any trait or quality from your characters that as actors you found to be a challenge and, you know, kind of what drew you to that role?
trait or quality that frankly challenge.
You know, it's interesting. So Randall's raised by, I can't say that. When does this air? God, dog. I'm always
It's
trying.
hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good question.
The way he was raised. Maybe that's good.
The way he was raised is different than mine. And then ask me some more after the pilot.
Yeah.
Comes out. Yeah.
Can you repeat the question?
What,
Jeopardy.
as an actor, you found challenging, whether it be traits of your character or just qualities that you found challenging to represent the role on camera?
To represent the role on camera. I think there's a lot that I find that I want to explore more with her. Do you know what I mean? And sort of deepen. But every part of her I've been really excited to discover. Do you know what I mean? And we've been doing that together with Dan Fogelman and Don Todd, and we've come together collectively, like in small groups, and just discuss the character.
Yeah.
And they will really take in my feedback about who I think this woman is on the page and who she's becoming inside of me, and then they'll say who they've been in a room, what they've been thinking about with her, and then we collaborate in that way. So that's been a really great part of the process, because I'm not just getting somebody on a page that I don't know about every week. I'm just finding out every week. I'm getting somebody that, like, oh, we talked about that in the meeting. Oh, they put that in there. Okay, so I'm familiar with that. Or, and then, at the same time, there are things that we want to throw in that will challenge the growth of the character as well. And I think weekly those things begin to progress and develop and change. So for me right now, and I think everything sort of is, it's just sort of excitement about it all and jumping in with 2 feet,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Black Hollywood.